You're going to make pinch pots for your little slip containers. So what you guys are going to do is...
It says I'm waiting in the...
Yeah, I just let you.
Thank you.
Yep. You're all going to need to get more clay. So by the end of the day today, I'm going to have clay ready in bags. Those of you that are A, I'll give it to you tomorrow. Or those of you that are here tomorrow, that are here now, I'll give you your clay tomorrow. Those of you that are home, you'll be here Wednesday. I'll give you your clay Wednesday. Those of you that are fully virtual are going to need to come in and pick up clay and also bring your gargoyle in very carefully and drop it off without breaking it so it can get fired. You can come in tomorrow from 7 to 2:30. Monday also is an in-service day, so I don't know the exact schedule yet. They haven't given it to us, but I will be here from 7 to 3, 7, actually, sorry, should be 8 to 3:30. I'll clarify that, but I'll have bags of clay in my room, and so you can stop by and get it then. And then Tuesday, we're working from home, so you cannot pick it up Tuesday. So I would try and pick it up tomorrow or Monday, or have someone who's here bring it home for you. Because you do need, obviously, you need new clay. Also, the other thing that we have come to realize with your projects is I'm going to give you all a Ziploc bag. Those of you that were here yesterday, I already took your projects and put them in a Ziploc bag to dry. Because what's happening is your projects you're leaving them in the bin, which is ideally what we were supposed to do, but because there's paper and whatnot in there, it's drying really fast, and some of it might be cracking. So I gave everyone here a Ziploc bag, or if I didn't, Hans, I'll give that to you shortly. Put your phone away. Those of you that are fully virtual, you should have 2 Ziploc bags in your container. So take your project as it's drying out, put it in a Ziploc bag, and leave it open a little bit so the air can slowly dry it out. And then if you don't, I'm giving you another Ziploc bag with your clay when you come and pick stuff up, so you should have enough. But take your project out of your bin to dry, put it in a plastic bag, and leave the bag open slightly so that it dries slower. All right, so you guys are going to make, like I said, pinch pots. Now, you're going to have a pound of clay just like before. You don't want to use the whole thing for your project to begin with because you need more clay for the additions, and you also need more clay for the clapper and for things that you're adding on. Plus, it's hard to make a pinch pot with this much clay. Plus, you're more than likely going to need to add clay onto the bottom of your bell to make it longer. So this is my sketch right here, like I said. You have your clay. If you have extra clay that you didn't use, you're going to combine it to the clay that I give you. In order to do that, you need to wedge your clay. So you need to get any air bubbles out that would have been in it. So you're going to take your old clay, you're going to combine it with the new clay, and you're going to wedge it, which means you're going to put it on the table and you're going to push it and roll it. Like, I don't know if anyone makes bread anymore, if you've ever made bread and you have to knead the dough. It's the same idea. So you're pushing it and you're rolling it on the table. It's actually easier if you stand up than trying to sit down. So you push it and you roll it. You can also kind of throw it. Not like throw it, but like hold it up a foot and drop it. That will work any air bubbles to the outside. So that's another way for you to wedge your clay. So in order to start, I would start with at least half, maybe a little bit more, depending on how big you want to make your bell. But I would make sure you save some clay for your add-ons. So put that back in the bag and seal it. Let the air out. Now, just like we did those pinch pots with the, for your slip containers, you're going to want to start it with a ball in a perfect circle because it'll make your life a million times easier if it's a circle than if it's going to be lopsided. So you're going to roll it either on the table or you roll it in your hands to make that into a perfect ball. All right, now, as you're working, remember you might want to add some water to your hands or your fingers as you're working if you start to notice your clay to dry out. So make that a perfect ball. And then you're going to start with your pinch pot. You're going to hold it in your left hand or whatever your non-dominant hand is, and you're going to put your thumb in the center, and you're going to push it down and open it up just like that. So you're going to open it up. You don't want to go all the way through, obviously. Just like you made your little slip pots, you're going to start pinching. Okay. So you're going to pinch down around the bottom. And you want to remember, everything should be no thicker than a pencil. So you keep on pinching until you can feel that it is no thicker than a pencil. You don't want to waste clay, and you also don't want it to explode. So no thicker than a pencil. Keep in mind, too, you're making the shape of a bell. So you want to keep your hands kind of up. If your project is getting wide, like a bowl, that means your hands are going out to the side. You want to keep your hands over the inside and like pinch it towards yourself. If you make it too wide, you have to start all over again. There's no way to like bring that back. So be careful and keep in mind what shape that you're making with your pinching and where it's going. A bell is like a flatter round shape. It's almost like a glass, like straight edges. It should not come flaring out like that. Your biggest spot you're going to collect clay is right around here, like up top, around this corner. So make sure that you feel that, see what it feels like. And keep on pinching until it is about the thickness of a pencil. So by the time you're done, you're going to have it all thinned out, pretty thin. And this will be like the base of your bell. So this, see how it's all lopsided? It's got fingerprints all over it. Make sure that you are feeling it, feeling where the extra clay is, pinching it. And again, if you make it too wide, the only thing you can do is start it over again. So just keep in mind where you're pinching it. Now, I have my pinch pot bell shape roughly, but I still want to make it bigger, and my pinch pot is not that far. You really can't make giant pinch pots because like your hand gets in the way. So you can only make a pinch pot as far as like your fingers will reach in the bottom. Like this part of my hand is preventing me from making like a giant pinch pot. You can't make a giant pinch pot. So in order to make this bigger, you're going to have to do another technique that we have, which is called coils. And if you were here in person, we have an extruder, which is like, how many of you guys played with like the Play-Doh Fun Factory with like the hair salon where you stick the Play-Doh through and it shoots out in holes? No? The extruder is a giant one of those that has a hole in the bottom, so you put the clay in and you pull the handle down and it shoots out perfect coils of clay. So obviously we can't do that right now, so I'm going to show you guys how to hand roll coils. And again, this is another like flashback to when you were little. At least when I was little. I don't know what you guys are into these days, but when you have Play-Doh, you're going to make like a worm almost, like a giant worm. So a coil is a perfect coil of clay. It's a long coil of clay. So you're going to take your clay and you're going to move your hand up and down it while you're rolling it to make a coil. And then once it gets long enough, you can do two hands, starting in the middle and rolling it and working your hands down. So you're making a coil here. Now, in order to attach this, like this is another hand building technique, just like pinch pots or just like slabs, which you're going to learn eventually. This is another way to build clay. People would make pots out of this, but once you have a coil that's pretty long, you do not want little tiny thin like spaghetti coils. You want like pretty thick. You're going to put it on the table. You're going to tap it flat, so it's more like a squashed coil now. See how it's like straighter on both sides? You're going to take your rib and you're going to take your slip pot, which I do not have, so I'm going to take this off after I attach it or show you guys how to attach it. Score the bottom. So I scored the bottom. I scored this entire coil. I'm going to take water from my water bottle. And then take my slip brush, and I'm going to make some slip to attach it with. So we got the slip. Brush the slip on here where you're going to attach it. So things you want to remember, don't make your coil too skinny because it's going to be a waste of your time because it'll break. And it's too small and you're going to have a bunch of them to do. You're going to slip one side of it, you're going to attach your coil. Mine's not big enough, so I'm going to have to make a smaller one, and then I'm just going to come up and around again to make it bigger. So I attach my coil and I press it against the edges pretty well. Press it down to get it to stick all the way around. Make sure you're supporting your shape because this clay is very soft. So if I just start smearing it, it's gonna like smush my whole project in and ruin it. Make sure you support it with your hand on the inside. And you're going to blend up and down from the outside. So I'm gonna blend it up or down or both, but you're gonna blend it totally together. You should not see any lines from the coil when you're done. Any lines that you see is gonna crack when it dries, and it's gonna break off. So you can add coils to this to make it bigger and longer. And you're also gonna make coils to, like, if you wanted to add things to the outside. So you're blending, 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 one to the other. And then once you have this done, then you're gonna totally blend it. So that when you're finished, you should not even see that you added a coil on here. It shouldn't look any different than your other project does. So it's like perfectly smooth. Same thing on the inside. You don't want these lines on the inside, even though it's just the inside. You don't want those lines there. So you're gonna blend it into one another. Make sure your left hand is supporting it, because again, otherwise you're just gonna ruin it and smush it. So then what I would keep doing is keep adding these until my bell is as big as I want it to be. Then you're going to work on the texture on the outside, smoothing it out and everything else, and then you're going to adding your attachments. So like with my sketch, I'm going to have a tail I'm going to add, I'm going to have a head that I'm going to add, I'm going to have wings I'm going to add. And I'll do a demo for you guys for that next week. But for now, your first part of this is just going to be doing the pinch part. So do you guys have any questions about that?